Hi everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and you're listening to We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or wanting to revisit an old classic, let us be your guide through the infinite list of TV shows.
So come join us every Friday as we discuss the pilot for a TV show while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storylines.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, where your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our pod.
Hello, welcome back to the pod.
Welcome back.
Welcome. We're a little delirious.
Yes.
It is hot.
Yes.
Across the world, across the globe.
It is definitely hot across this house, and you've been working all day. I've been doing stuff all day. It's been a busy day. I was outside for a total of 5 minutes, and I was drenched in sweat.
Oh, yeah.
And, but hey, the pool looks good, so.
Yeah, I was watering the aloe plants on the patio yesterday while our lawn guy was mowing the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally spent probably 10 minutes. I watered the plants, pulled some weeds up from the patio, and I was covered in sweat.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Yeah, it was bad.
That is, in fact, how that goes. So, yeah, we are in a new month, and it is...
Happy August.
Happy August. It is August 1st that this episode will be released.
Yeah.
Who knows when you'll actually be listening to
Augusto.
it. But, yeah, happy Friday. If you're listening to this on a Friday, we're recording this on a Monday, so happy Monday. Just in general.
Or Tuesday, Wednesday,
to
Thursday.
all the Mondays out there, show yourselves in the comments.
Show yourselves.
Yeah, so we're doing a show that, I mean, doesn't really need much of an introduction.
Nope.
It's one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. This isn't, although I do feel this way, not a personal opinion. It is kind of a fact. This show is beloved. Everyone loves it. We are talking about The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls.
So this is a show that, like, it really doesn't matter how old you are. I have, like, coworkers 10, 15 years younger than me that watch reruns of this show. So, I mean, it's iconic. It's eternal. It's just one of those shows that everybody loves. And we're going to maybe talk about why we think people love the show so much in a little bit. But for now, Anna's going to give us some episode and series information.
All right. Yeah, we're talking about The Golden Girls, the TV show, not the dance team from LSU.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
There's no TV show about them as far as I know.
You never know what might happen. The Golden Girls, The Engagement. The Golden Girls was an American sitcom that aired on NBC from September 14th, 1985 to May 9th, 1992 for 7 seasons and a total of 180 episodes. The series was created by Susan Harris, who started out as a writer for shows such as All in the Family, The Partridge Family, and Maude, but broke out as a series creator with shows like Soap and Benson. The Golden Girls takes place in Miami, Florida, and centers around the lives of 4 older women living in a home together. The series shows these women going through their daily lives in what are considered their golden years. The series stars Bea Arthur as Dorothy Zbornak, the intelligent, sarcastic divorcee, Betty White as Rose Nyland, a widow known for being sweet, naive, and sometimes a little bit ditzy, Rue McClanahan as Blanche Devereaux, a flirtatious and confident widow from Georgia.
The best.
Estelle Getty as Sophia Petrillo, Dorothy's mother, who is a quick-witted straight shooter that had to move in with the girls after her nursing home burns down. In the pilot, and the pilot only, features Charles Levin as Coco, the girls' housekeeper and cook. Coco was originally a main character, but Susan Harris decided to write the character out after the show was picked up. She concluded that she didn't want a male character on the show taking care of the women, rather than being independent women instead. Also, Estelle Getty was originally meant to be a guest star with a recurring role on the show, but after the audience and producers' positive responses to her character, she was added to the main cast. The Golden Girls became an instant hit with critics and audiences alike. The show became groundbreaking, showing women of a certain age having an active dating and sex life. The series also became known for covering controversial topics of the time, such as interracial dating, sexual harassment, LGBTQ rights, substance abuse, and HIV and AIDS. The series went on to get nominated for 68 Primetime Emmys, winning 11 of them, including Outstanding Comedy Series, and all 4 women each won.
Yeah, they all won at least once.
Yeah,
from all the research that I did.
Yeah. The Golden Girls might be best known for having one of the most recognizable and arguably one of the greatest theme songs of all time, "Thank You for Being a Friend," sung by Cynthia Fee, but it was originally written and sung by Andrew Gold. The original song reached number 25 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in 1978. And you can watch the entire series on Hulu.
Yeah, I need to hear this original version of the song. I don't think I've ever heard it before.
Yeah, thank you for being a friend.
Yeah. Were you familiar? I mean, I know the answer to this, but were you familiar with Golden Girls when we went into this?
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch it all the time? Yeah.
Yes, this was an absolute. I don't know what else came on. I'm thinking it was like a Friday night show. I don't remember back in the day when it came on. But I was definitely watching it. 85, I was in high school and I watched it through college. It was just, it's funny because I'm around the age of Dorothy and Blanche and Rose, not so much Sophia. But I look at them and look at myself, and I don't think I resemble them too much. I do think I act sassy like them. But I think it's funny that we see them as golden girls in their golden years, that you're talking, I think, 50 and over. As like the golden anniversary is your 50th anniversary. So the 50th in your age. So...
And now we got 70, 80-year-olds still rocking bikinis at the beach and, having an being an Instagram influencer. And times have certainly changed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I watched this when it originally aired, but I definitely watched it in syndication. I think it used to come on Lifetime every day after school. Afternoon time.
On something.
It was on something. I used to watch it every day after school. I thought still do think it's one of the funniest shows ever. I've always had a soft spot for it, just watching the first episode and just kind of remembering the dynamics, because they start right out of the gate with, kind of Rose's story. Rose always telling really drawn out stories, and Blanche being very flirtatious, and even though the characters were kind of dialed down a little bit because it was the pilot, it's still, you kind of saw all the dynamics that were kind of forming in the pilot, and I really kind of liked that because it had been a really long time. Maybe they just didn't show the pilot a lot on reruns, or maybe I just don't really remember it that much. But because when stuff was in syndication, it's not like they showed it in any order. You just kind of watched what was on. And I don't know if I ever actually watched the pilot before. Maybe I did once or twice. I didn't realize every other scene from the pilot was in the opening credits montage for almost the entirety of the show. So, which was also kind of interesting because, it's usually the pilot that takes a little bit to get going. But it seems like with this pilot, a lot like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they kind of they had their formula, and you could kind of tell from the very first episode, this show's going to be funny. And I feel like there are very few sitcoms that really pull that off, because it usually takes them a little while to get their footing. But with Golden Girls, it just kind of was immediately, they were, it helps that these women have all worked together and have all known each other for decades leading up to this.
And at the time, B. Arthur and Betty White were very much still very popular TV actresses coming off of Maude, and Mary Tyler Moore, and
Rue McClanahan was in Maude as well, and Mama's Family.
Yes.
And so was Betty White. So
they were very much kind of the current actresses.
Yeah.
So it was just a show that brought all of them together, and then you throw in Estelle Getty.
Oh yeah, who's the best? Yeah. Oh yeah, so Would you call yourself a Golden Girls fan?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a Golden Gal.
Do you have a favorite character, or do you just kind of love all? I know you're a I love them all type person, but
Yes. I mean, obviously, I think I loved Rose just
Yeah.
because I think everyone always like underestimated her. She was
Uh-huh.
like the sweet, naive one, but she wasn't always so dumb. Like,
yeah,
she did know stuff.
Right.
So, and then, I mean, who didn't love Sophia?
oh yeah,
And then you had to appreciate Blanche because she was like the sexy one who, wasn't going to let age define
Right.
who she was sexually or with a man or
she owned
whoever.
it, and she looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Dorothy,
Right.
just sassy with her
Oh, yeah.
mom. I mean, I could definitely relate to that. I definitely had kind of a fun back and forth with my mom in my golden era and her late era. So I think you could identify with these women who they were,
Right.
especially me now. So
Yeah.
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 Did you love it?
Yeah. I mean, no surprise. Dorothy was always my favorite because she's the sassy one, and I relate to that because I'm known for being sassy, especially with my boo, and yeah, I always really liked. I mean, obviously Sophia's hilarious and everything she says. You're just kind of wondering what the crazy thing she's gonna say next, and
Yeah.
with Rose, I mean, Betty White is just so effortlessly hilarious, and she is just so funny. And yeah, the kind of her ditziness was just always very funny, and it was just always very just like kind of juxtaposed to like Dorothy's personality, who's very intelligent and very like articulate and educated, whereas Rose is like this kind of Midwestern kind of housewife type and very different. It's always fun to the way Dorothy was just always so sarcastic with Rose was
yeah.
always like one of my favorite. The looks she would give her, like B. Arthur can just look at someone and it's hilarious.
It's just,
I mean,
and it obviously it's her height as well.
Right.
So it's just the like whole tall short
Right.
between their relationship also really lended itself to kind of the comedy.
Yeah.
Like, so that Sophia was so sassy being so tiny.
right.
And what was just also funny was I think Estelle Getty was actually the youngest actress
Yeah, she was.
of the four, and Betty White I think was technically the oldest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, love the show, love all the characters.
Oh, yeah.
Had some great episodes, some great moments that have. I mean, you're still circulating on TikTok, still circulating on Instagram Reels. That show, like I said earlier, that show is eternal. All right, so you said a second ago, Golden Girls has an extremely recognizable theme song. I wouldn't say it's the greatest theme song of all time, but I think a lot of people would say it is, and I think that kind of the consensus is that it is one of the greatest and most recognizable theme songs of all time. I agree with that, but we've talked about our favorite theme songs before. We've talked
Yep.
about the ones instrumental, the ones that were songs. We've talked about all of that, but we're gonna do something a little different. We usually don't talk about the things we don't like.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not? I guess we have. We've talked about it with dating stuff. So, all right. So, what are some theme songs that you just never got into?
Well, I don't know if it's like I never got into them as much as they were like annoying, or you sort of
I was
started
being nice, yeah.
or sort of that you started mocking, or
Yeah.
that didn't go or make sense.
Right.
So like these are the ones that I just kind of identified over my early probably TV life. We were talking just now that we don't so much listen to TV theme songs because
Right.
we hit skip intro a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the first I'm going to put down there is Barney. That just became annoying because I was older when Barney came out. I think that was around Patrick's age
Patrick
when
would
he
have
was
been
a baby.
like a toddler, yeah, when Barney was
So
really popular.
it was just like, please just turn that like song off.
Yes.
And then people just sang it. I love you. Or whatever that was. And then the one kind of from like my teen era was Charles in Charge. And you actually just now questioned me, so I pulled it up
Yeah.
to listen to it. And as it was going, you were like, okay, I could see how you
Yeah.
would say that.
I love the lyrics, love the song. It was whoever the singer was. Sorry, whoever you are out there, if you're still alive, but that was not. The vocals for it is kind of what did it for me. I was kind of like, yeah, this is kind of annoying.
It gets into like a very nasally.
Yeah.
It's like Charles in charge. I don't know. I cannot sing, so don't come at me in the comments because I cannot sing just like the girl that was singing this theme song.
Damn, shots fired.
No, I'm just kidding. But it just sounded like it was just. I don't know. I can't describe it. But when I was looking through lists just to try to get ideas, and I was like, yes, because we used to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Like, we would sing it like she would sing it. And then the last one I have is one that I'm like, I don't ever think I know what the hell this was talking about.
Nonsensical.
It's Frasier. It's like the egg salad and scrambled eggs or scrambled eggs and salads and but it's like a jazz kind of ensemble, which is weird because the show takes place in Seattle. I mean, if it was some grunge music, that might have been cool,
right.
But maybe it was supposed to be jazzy because he was a psychiatrist. I don't know. But yeah, that one, just when I looked through lists and I was like, let me listen to that because that I do have a recollection of like that just not making any sense.
Right.
And if someone out there knows what that song is about or what it's supposed to be tied to Frasier, please let me know. And that's my list. What about yours?
Okay, so I made two different lists, and the one I kind of have is I kind of have the ones that I didn't like, but they also coincide with what are considered the worst TV theme songs of all time. So I'm going to kind of give you a little list of, I mean, I looked at a few different lists. We were both kind of looking at lists before we started this, but before we were doing that earlier, I was doing my own research and looking at consistencies and what shows did I see, like what I usually do when I make little lists, like just kind of getting a consensus on what like the most frequently brought up one was. There was one for Ranker. They had like a top 50, but some of the TV shows, I mean, I guess there's just so many theme songs that like there were just so many shows that I never even heard of. So I was just kind of like, okay, I guess these are just like the shows from everywhere of all time, and half of these I've never even heard of before.
Okay.
So I'm giving you the worst TV theme songs. Number one was Barney.
Okay.
So there you go.
Right.
The one that I am on board with and would have been my number one is the theme song to Weeds. I think that's the song is called Little Boxes. It is just a very annoying song, and I get what it's about because it's a song kind of about like it sounds like a song from the 50s, and it's very much like everybody's house looks the same, everybody's car is the same, like it's kind of like a comment on like the nuclear family and suburbia and stuff like that, which is kind of sort of what Weeds was about. And it was set in the suburbs, and I don't know did you ever see Weeds? Did you ever see that show?
I think it had Mary Louise Parker in it, right? I think I might have watched an episode. It was like during the HBO heyday.
Yeah.
And I don't think I picked up on, like, it didn't catch my attention.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that one was kind of annoying. And then the Big Bang Theory, I was actually kind of surprised to see that one. That's the Bare Naked Ladies song.
Oh.
I didn't like that song because I can't stand the Bare Naked Ladies. When I worked at Hard Rock Cafe, they would play this live version of If I Had $1 Million, and it was the most annoying music video ever. And so ever since then, anytime I hear Bare Naked Ladies, I'm just like, I turn this off, please. So the theme song to Big Bang Theory, that is a skip intro for me. I saw this one, and we almost did it for this month, was Orange is the New Black.
Oh, yeah, right.
That was on like every single list. So I've never seen Orange is the New Black, so I can't comment on that, but
I watched like 4 seasons
it was
of it.
Undeniable. It was undeniable that it was on like, and you mentioned it too, it was on like every list that I looked at. As was Star Trek Enterprise. Once again, I've never seen it. So if anyone has ever watched these shows before, feel free to let me know how annoying those theme songs are.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I watched Orange is the New Black, and I can't really think of the intro, but that could have been in the Netflix days of like skip intro.
Right.
And Star Trek, I've I've never watched. Is that like the storytelling at the very beginning, and it's like
maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I've never seen it. And then one that I was very surprised to see, but also not, was MASH. Just because I think that people say that it is MASH. I think just confused people throughout time because it was a sitcom, but they would also be like really, really sad, like depressing, sad a lot of times on MASH. But it was like this backdrop of a sitcom, and I think everyone thought that the theme song was just a bummer, like going into the show. Like I said, I didn't really watch MASH. I watched it I watched it in reruns, but I don't remember liking or disliking the theme song.
Well, the theme song, I don't think has actually...
It's instrumental, right?
It's instrumental.
Yeah.
The name of it is called Suicide is Painless.
Yes.
But there is... I don't think there are any actual lyrics that are played during it.
I think it's just a bummer of a tune.
Yeah. So
just a very melancholy is what they refer to it as. Suits, which we did a very long time ago on our podcast. Never watched the second episode, but we liked it, I remember, but I don't remember the theme song. We probably skip intro for that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I was also very surprised to see the L Word on every, because I watched the L Word, but I don't remember, once again, like I don't remember the theme song, so maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. You tried to block it out.
Yeah, maybe that's
so unmemorable.
But I think I watched like the first season of the L Word. I liked it. But yeah, I don't remember the theme song though. Okay, so then I made a little baby list of TV theme songs that I don't dislike, but they undeniably will get stuck in my head if I hear them or think about them. So I'm hoping to do some immersion therapy and list them all at once, and maybe none of them will get stuck in my head. All right, so the first one is probably the first TV theme song that I used to sing all the time. It was the theme song to Party of Five, Closer to Free.
Oh.
I think I had a cassette of like the single, because like back when these theme songs were like songs that just were featured on a TV show, they would sell the single, kind of like the Friends the Friends theme song, where it was like a full song. I used to listen to that song constantly, and it would get stuck in my head. I mean, just thinking about it now, I will just start singing it to myself. I know you'll like this one, Reba. Reba will get stuck in my head. It's a single mom who works two jobs. Loves her kids, and we love Reba.
And those were already songs, so those aren't original.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, that's kind of, these are, but then the next few that I have three more. It's one that I didn't realize would get stuck in my head until very, very, very recently, and this lines up with you wanted to do a current show for this theme song, but I love it, but it just gets stuck in my head, and it's The Gilded Age.
Oh.
I will just be like, before the theme song comes on, I'll do it, and then it'll do the opening, and then I'll hit skip intro. I'm like, I just need to hear the beginning. The Goldbergs, which is a very, I mean, it's like a 5-second little song, but the keyboard part of it will always get stuck in my head. And then we talked about it. We did it for UK month. It's Skins, and when I think I talked about it on the episode where the season 1 DVD of Skins that I bought on eBay, it was like a burnt copy, but like the guy who made it did put forth a little bit of effort and gave me like a menu with like the episode list and chapters and stuff. Very nice, very professional. I think I paid like $8 for it, but he would play the theme song on the main menu, and it would just loop. And I would, like we still do now, I would fall asleep because I didn't have cable. I would fall asleep listening to whatever movie or TV show I'd put on. And this is also before Netflix streaming, so I had to have TV shows on DVD in order to binge and fall asleep to stuff. And I would put in a disc of Skins, and I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the theme song is just playing on a loop. And it would just be stuck in my head all day, like some type of like sleep hypnosis thing where it would just be playing in my head all day long. But I love the theme song, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. That is it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Right.
So I love me some theme songs. Another one that gets stuck in my head a lot was Cheers. That used to get stuck in my head a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one, though.
Of course.
All right, so we're going to do things a smidge differently than what we normally do because it was a 22-minute episode, and I mean, it was like the perfect pilot because it was just so little happened, but it was like enough, but it was everything in order for you to like get to know these characters and learn about these characters and learn about the dynamics. But the plot itself was just very simple. And I'm not saying that it was uneventful because it was extremely funny, but it just wasn't, it's a sitcom. Like these are, to me, like the perfect type of sitcom is like I can tell you what the episode is about in like one paragraph. And like to me, that's a sitcom because you're not supposed to be watching it continuously. You can just drop into any episode and you can just, and you understand what's going on, even if you don't know who these characters are.
Right.
And I feel like they did a really good job with that for this. And they did such a good job that I did the best I could. And it's a page-long plot summary. And I stretched it out as much as I could without like putting in dialogue. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the plot summary. And then I have 3 more questions for us. One of them is kind of like multiple questions. But I'm going to do that while we're reading the plot summary. Because, I just wanted to try something a little different. So we're going to try something different this time, and we're going to see if we like it, and maybe we'll start doing it permanently. Maybe this will just be a one-time thing. Who knows? All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Golden Girls plot summary, pilot plot summary. On a fine June evening, Miami, Florida, as we said earlier, Dorothy Zbornak returns home from a long day of teaching, venting her frustrations with the students to Coco, the girl's cook. Okay, so I'm already going in with the first question. So because I didn't include it because now I can talk about it for a second. So I forgot that and not because they were of a certain age, it just wasn't a big part of the show. I forgot that Blanche, Rose, and Dorothy all had like full-time jobs. I had like completely forgotten about that. So Dorothy was a teacher.
Yes.
Rose was a grief counselor, and then Blanche worked what all random people do on TV shows. She worked at an art gallery.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she did at the art gallery, but yes. And Rose was a grief counselor for a little while. Then she worked in like something else. She worked at
like a hotel at one point.
Yeah, that was the spinoff. That was Golden Palace.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Golden Palace. Okay.
Which I forgot to put in the episode and series information. That Golden Palace and Empty Nest were spinoffs. Anyway, so Dorothy is teaching. She's kind of coming home, venting to Coco, and there's kind of a reference to Dorothy feeling old, which we all have that moment in our lives, or maybe multiple moments in our life where we start feeling old. And I don't mean like we turn 25 and we're out of breath walking up some stairs like that. To me, I know some people will be like, that was the first time I felt old. And it's like, no, you're just out of shape. So it's just, so has there ever been a specific moment that you can think of? Maybe it was one of your first times. Maybe it's just one that you have a clear memory of where you felt quote unquote old.
Yes.
Okay.
It was when I realized I really needed glasses.
Oh, right.
And that was in 2016.
Uh-huh.
I was on a trip with Alicia. We were on a cruise, and you and I had met.
Mm-hmm.
And our mode of communication was mostly texting.
Yeah.
But then I was reading, like, I think I brought a book with me, and I was trying to read it in bed, and I've never worn glasses, contacts, nothing for my entire life. And so I was reading my book, and all like the words were blurring.
Yeah.
And I thought like I was having like a headache or something was wrong with me, or maybe it was like I thought I had motion sickness. And I just kept like rubbing my eyes, and Alicia looked over and she's like, "What is wrong?" And I was like, "I can't see like my nook. I can't read the words. They're like really blurry." And so like I looked at my phone to see if I could text you. And I was like, God, like the words. And so Alicia looks over. She takes off her readers off of her head or off of her face. And she goes, "Put these on." And I put them on, and like everything became clear.
Nice.
And I was just like, wow. So that, I will say, was really, really the first time that I felt old. I mean, obviously for women, and in this context of the show, I will say starting to get gray hair. I'm pretty lucky in the sense that my gray hair also didn't really, really start coming in until around my mid 40s. I was like around 43 or 44. You will laugh, back when they would come in, like I would get like one little sprout when Patrick was pretty little. So like in maybe like the mid to late 90s when I was still in law school. So he was like around 7. So that was like maybe like my late 20s, like one little tiny gray hair would pop in. And I would have him get tweezers and yank it out. Aww. And my mom would always be like, 7 more are going to grow in its place. But I didn't really fully start getting the gray hair where it was like all of it was coming in probably until like my early mid 40s. And I let it grow in for a little while. And then inevitably I will go and get a box of hair color and color it. And it does make me feel a little bit younger. Maybe I've said that perhaps when I turn 60, I will just let it start growing all in. I know you say you don't mind it, you like it.
I didn't say I don't mind it. I say I think it looks I think it looks sexy. I think it's sexy.
No. I can't.
That's just
I think
me,
I would have to go like really all gray. Like I think I would go to a salon and be like, strip the black out, gray me, just make me silver, whatever, and just do it. My friend Melissa did that. She had made the decision that she was going to stop coloring her hair. It just became too much of a pain. And she was just like, gray it up. And she looked really good. So she gave me inspiration. Shout out to Melissa about going gray and making that decision.
It's a whole trend on social media now. Women in their 50s 60s start getting their grays, and it's a part of their, some of them it's a part of their brand, it's a part of their name, their username and everything. Like it's a whole thing now. I was seeing some articles about it. It's very interesting. But and they all, I mean, and I just think you would look hot regardless. So
well, thank you. Well, what about you? You're younger than I am.
Yeah, I was about to say, please don't say I'm pretty young, because I'm not.
You're not pretty young, but you were significantly younger than I am.
Yes.
But has there been a time you felt old?
So I am 40. I'll be 41 in October. So yes, I don't consider either one of us to be old.
No.
But when I have to say, even though like I was a smoker and I didn't live the healthiest lifestyle, I stayed in relatively good shape for most of my life. I think I was active enough in my work life to where I was like healthy enough. And then when I quit smoking, I got healthier. But anyway, I just remember, and this wasn't that long ago, so this would have been let's see, what year is it? It would have been 2022, I think, maybe.
Okay.
And so I would have been 30, in my late 30s at this point in time, and it was the first time that I got my first bout of vertigo, when I was like violently, this wasn't the thing that made me feel old, but it was just like I was like violently throwing up, and it was the first time I ever got vertigo. It was the first time I ever like really, other than like having pneumonia or having the flu a few times, it was the first time that I ever was really like uncontrollably vomiting.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen very often. When I'm sick, it's usually just like I have a fever, I maybe throw up once, and then that's it. Like I'm not like I'm an easy sick person to deal with. Like I'm very, I really just
you're just like, I'm gonna get in bed and let it pass.
I just want to take a hot bath for a little bit and then go lay in bed and sleep it off. So maybe about 2 weeks later, so I think because I was vomiting so much, and it was like like my body was like convulsing, because you reach a point to where when you can't stop throwing up, you eventually run out of vomit, and you're just throwing up nothing, and you're just dry heaving. And I was doing that. I mean, like that first day where I got really sick, that was like one of the most miserable experiences sick-wise that I've ever, probably the most miserable I've ever been, like sick-wise. And maybe about a week or two later, I started feeling pain in like my back. Or it was like kind of radiating from like my side, from like my back to my chest, mostly on my side. And then I remember being at work, and I remember like stretching my back, and I pulled something.
Oh.
And I was just like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? And it would just it would go away. Sometimes it would hurt. Sometimes it wouldn't. And then about a day or two later, I just start having like chest pain. What felt like chest pain. It was the first time I ever really had chest pain before. And then I remember I woke up in the morning. It was maybe like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark outside, and like my chest hurt so bad. And I was like kind of like half awake. I was also like kind of freaking out. So I remember waking you up, and I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. I mean, because I didn't know what else it could. I just didn't know what else. It was like right in the center of my chest. But it was also like my arm was hurting, and I remember people like the whole thing when like you
your
have a heart
left
attack.
arm hurts.
Yeah, like when you have a heart attack, like your left, people like grab their arm, and that's how like that was like the reflex that I had. And I remember like I was kind of freaking out, and I woke, which is not something that I normally do. I freak out over like funny stuff. I don't freak out over I just don't freak out in that way usually.
Correct.
And you're as always just like. I did the same for you with your ER story. That was very similar to what happened to me. You were like, okay, let's go to the ER. Luckily, we live right down the street. We live like 5 miles down the road from an ER, and went there, and they were just like, okay, well, we'll give you a test to see if you're having a heart attack or you had a heart attack of any kind, and they did, and they were like, everything looks fine. You have a bruised chest wall. And it was, and then they asked like some history stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I had vertigo, and I was like violently vomiting for like all day, and they were like, you probably pulled a muscle. You probably just pulled a muscle or something. And I'm just like, and I felt so stupid. I just felt, but it was the first time I ever felt like, and that moment on, even though it was like a false alarm, it wasn't anything like life-threatening or anything. It was just probably just a normal amount of pain mixed in with just having anxiety about it and just kind of it exacerbating in your head, and probably a lot less worse than it actually was. I was just freaking out over it. But that was kind of the moment where I was like, I'm about to be 40. I'm halfway through my life. I started to truly understand my own mortality. And I kind of had like a little era of kind of freaking out over it. Not like, it wasn't like stopping me from doing anything, but it was just always on my mind. I'm like, I could just like have a heart attack and die. I was just, you reach a certain point in your life where you're just like, I'm not going to live forever. And you're not, even when you have life-threatening things in your 20s, you truly don't understand. Even if you almost die in your 20s, you don't understand your own mortality until you're actually close to like, oh, well, it's not going to be something random. I could just die. Like, it's not going to be getting hit by a car or getting murdered, or I could just like be sleeping and my heart just stops beating. Like, and that's
of course
very scary. And
yes.
I started to think about that more. And so now it became a lot more about like, I need to get healthier. I need to eat better. I need to do this. I need to do this. I'm not saying I've followed all of that, but like it is definitely something that is always on my mind. And that was the first time I truly experienced that idea that I could just have a heart attack at any moment, like, and I could have a stroke at any moment. I could have an aneurysm at any moment. Like, I never really thought about that before because I was young and I was, I could sleep for 2 hours and go to work all day and feel fine. I could, I don't do this anymore, but I could drink and then wake up the next morning and go to work and I'd be fine. Like, but I can't do that anymore.
I think what I felt in that morning was, it wasn't that I wasn't taking you seriously, but had I connected the dots better, your vertigo scares me more than what had happened that morning, because I could physically see you in pain. And what I didn't connect the dots, because it was like a day or two later, was something similar had happened to me in Biloxi a year before, or a few months before. I had gotten food poisoning, and I had thrown up all night. It was like 8 to 10 times I was up throwing up. The morning when I woke up, my chest was just like rock solid tight. And of course, between texting my sister and texting your mother, both of them thinking I was dying of a heart attack, they were like, get to the ER or get to urgent care. And we went, and they again were like, hook me up to an EKG and ask when it happened or, anything go on. And I was like, well, I had food poisoning last night. I've been throwing up all night. And they were like, yeah, you probably pulled the chest muscle.
Yeah.
I didn't connect those similar dots to your vertigo.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a lesson learned on that.
Right.
But again, you don't want to chance something like that.
Exactly.
It's like, could you really be having a heart attack? And it might not even be related to you throwing up with vertigo.
Right.
So you can't take the chance. Because I remember you were like, babe, I really think I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
I think the other thing you said was like, there is something wrong with me.
Right.
And I think I heard that in relation to your vertigo.
Yeah.
And that to me was what I was worried about. I don't know if I really thought you were having a heart attack. I thought something was really wrong with your head. And so that was where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I turned out okay.
Yes.
We both turned out okay. We're both doing all right.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I got one sentence in and then we started talking again. But, that's what we're trying different this time. All right. So Dorothy walks in. It's been a long day. She's venting about her day to Coco, the housekeeper. Then Rose walks in soon after and similarly dissatisfied with her day at the counseling center. The only exuberant one in the home is Blanche Devereaux, who comes into the kitchen for a bag of cucumbers to put on her eyes, which that couldn't be more 80s. That's so funny.
Totally.
The sliced cucumbers, yeah. And to ask if she can borrow Dorothy's mink stole, which imagining Dorothy wearing a mink stole didn't really seem like her style.
Right, because like
no offense to
I
that
think
character.
of a mink stole as something like little,
Yeah.
kind of, and Dorothy is a very like commanding
Yeah.
woman. Like I don't see a mink stole fitting on Dorothy.
Well, I just don't. That's just not. Yeah, I just don't. I can't imagine that either. But I didn't realize that it was. For some reason, I thought no. She asked to borrow Rose's earrings. That was what she asked to borrow from Rose. Coco informs the other ladies of Blanche's date with her new beau Harry. After a brief debate, Rose and Dorothy realize that they know very little about Harry and ask Blanche about him when she comes to ask Rose if she can borrow her earrings. That's what I remembered. I remember her wanting to borrow the earrings. Blanche is eager to gush about her beau to her friends and shocks them with the news that he had proposed to her. Dorothy and Rose are shocked as Blanche had only been dating Harry for a week. We're back to the Designing Women pilot where it's like it doesn't matter how old you are. You've only known this person for like a day or a week. And then with what's Delta Burke's name? Suzanne Sugarbaker. Yes. And with Suzanne, she had known this guy for like a day. So it was like, yeah, that's just crazy. But Blanche makes it clear that she hasn't made up her mind yet to answer. She says she hasn't answered Harry yet. Rose worries that she and Dorothy will end up homeless, but Dorothy reassures her that everything will be fine. At that moment, the doorbell rings. It's not Harry, but Sophia, revealing that Shady Pines is burned down. Then Harry arrives, and Blanche leaves with him on their date. That night, while Dorothy and Rose talked about their own marriages, Blanche returns, saying she said yes, and the wedding is next week. So you've known this guy for a week, and you're getting married in a week. Blanche, you're too good. You're too good for that. The wedding day comes, and Rose reveals to Dorothy she is unsure about Harry, so she wants to tell Blanche. All right, so I originally had the question a little later, but that is a good part to bring it up. So I believe it's called the ick. That's what the kids are saying nowadays. Yes. And so this is kind of when we're introduced to Harry originally, when Rose and Dorothy originally meet Harry, Rose immediately gets what we would call the ick.
Yes, the ick factor.
She's just immediately put off by him. She said there's something about him that I don't trust or something about him that I don't like, but she can't put her finger on it. So we have many stories about ourselves. You don't have to give out any names. You don't have to give out any specific details just to give people their anonymity. But so have you ever wanted to stop someone from getting married or taking a big step with someone, or have you ever like immediately gotten the ick with someone that your friend was dating?
Yes.
Oh, that was a tone. All right.
Yes. It was a friend back in the 90s. She's a dear friend, and I was actually going to be in her wedding. Mm-hmm. And I had gone there to visit her where she lived, and another friend was with me, two of us from college. And when we went, I think he came over for like literally 2 minutes. And you're like, here is your like girlfriend. I think they were close to being engaged at the time. Like 2 of her closest friends, and you like walked in for 2 seconds. You barely even told them hello, and you walked out. And I just felt that there wasn't anything to like about him.
Gotcha.
And then, so they did have a breakup and a makeup, and they got engaged, and he proposed finally to her after she had gone on a trip and met someone else. And I think it was definitely like a little bit of play on her side, but also then he kind of was like, I guess I better lock it down, which is on both parts not a great way to start a marriage,
any type of relationship.
Correct. And so they did decide to get married, and at the wedding, it just wasn't good. Just like the speeches, how he liked her, it was just all very like ick. I mean, and it truly, that is a great word, because it was all you could just feel. And yeah, you know, and what was just sad was I wasn't the only one. And I was like, that was back at a time when you just did not share your feelings. And like none of us had been relaying to the other, like, we don't like him, or we don't, you know, have any interest in him. And so I just felt ick. Yeah. And then again, sadly, they inevitably divorced. They did get married. They ended up getting divorced. A lot came out. It did not start well, obviously, and it ended. Thankfully, there were no children involved. It was pretty soon after the marriage, and it was just a pretty clear...
So it wasn't like, okay.
Yeah. Then again, and so I hate using the same person, but, you know, sometimes you just develop patterns. She was dating someone else, and I had moved home from Hurricane Katrina, and they were actually in town to do some volunteer work for Habitat for Humanity, and I just did not like him. Okay. I like just, and I'm not a person who like, if this is who you're with or who you like, I'm willing to meet you and talk to you and try to find common ground, because apparently my friend likes you, so you should be a cool person. Like, why wouldn't I like you? Yeah. And so we sat down, and another friend was with me who was also in town visiting. We sat down to dinner, and I was asking about like their mission project and what they were doing and where they were working. And I thought it was great that they were here. And he's just like, I just can't believe like the stupidity of people here, and like how they didn't get out of town in time. You know, like all these buses that were here, you know, people should have volunteered to drive these buses. And I'm like, your ass wouldn't have driven a bus. Get the hell out of here. Right. Like, how, do you know how to drive a bus? Right. I'm like, you know, it's not like you just are hopping into like a VW Bug or something, you know, and I just like was cringing the whole time. I mean, not only was he just kind of insulting an entire city after a massive tragedy, but it was just like, just not a good look. And right. Things ended up progressing. They got engaged. And thankfully, though, before the wedding, there were some discoveries made about his character and who he was and things he was doing. And the wedding was called off, thankfully. Okay. Well, good. And so I remember her calling or messaging me. I don't want to say she was embarrassed. I think she was obviously deeply hurt because she cared about him. Yeah. I think she might have been embarrassed because she knew I didn't. And I was like, you have to deal with him. Yeah. I'm like, it's not my husband to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it goes the same for our situation where people were questioning or maybe thought we moved too quickly or something. I mean, we did get married in no less than 18 months each other, but
that I have found that is nothing compared to so many other people out there. Oh,
correct. I mean, that's like, there are people that get married after like a couple of weeks these days, but I felt like, it was never my place to say, I don't like him or
Yeah.
he's not right for you. I didn't know enough except for that moment at dinner. For me, that was enough to know this is not a guy I care to get to know much more.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I will deal with him because he will be soon married to one of my close friends. But am I going to tell him my deep, dark secrets?
Right.
I doubt it. So that one did not work out. So again, you know, and I never think that those kind of mistakes are truly bad. I mean, hopefully they are lessons.
Yeah.
Because I think for her, I think she was always wanting to get married, you know, and this might be wrong or a little bit of a stretch, was because I think she always thought it was what she was supposed to do.
Right. I mean, she could also, I think like I was for so long, I was just in love with love. And that could also be that.
Well,
I don't know. I've only,
yes.
I don't really know.
I know. For me, it was like the day I met her, it was every guy she talked about was, I definitely think I could marry him. Oh,
Gotcha.
He would be a great father. Oh, I could totally see him with kids, you know. And then I think after that, the recent one, the second one was that you know, when she talked to me later and she was just like, how do you know?
Yeah.
She's like, how have you picked up? And I was like, it was easy, Tiffany.
Yeah.
He was insulting an entire city.
Right.
I'm like, that was an easy one. I'm like, he was here to volunteer, but yet while he was here, he was spewing hate on a city that was damaged and hurt and downtrodden. And he's like, but I would have done this. I'm like, you don't know what you would have done.
Right.
I'm like, this hadn't happened before. I mean, we've had hurricanes, but not of this magnitude, obviously.
Well,
so
everything's simple when it's in hindsight.
Of
So
course,
I mean that's what's so annoying about people like that.
Yeah, you're the hero after the fact.
Well, I would have put more sandbag. It's just like, no, you wouldn't have. Shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah. So your life doesn't have to follow what someone has always said you had to do. If you want to be married, if you want to have children, great. But you don't have to be married to have children. Because I think that was also her thought, was like, I have to be married to have children.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you don't, technically.
Yeah.
Like,
you also don't have to get married to be happy.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that was like, I think the time I told you about with my friend who was like, how can you be happy? You're single. You don't have kids. And I'm like, I wasn't aware that those were criteria
The
to
only
be happy.
thing that can make you happy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that to me was kind of my story.
Yeah.
I hate the story, but the ending has been so much more.
Yeah.
Like, she did find a partner. She has 2 children. She like has a great career, and so that to me was all of that sort of bummer stuff the path, I guess, because obviously it was hers. But I think sometimes you're like, the lessons are in your biggest failures.
Yeah.
And for her, it was. I feel like she was like, I was looking for just a quick fix, and I really needed to find someone who was kind and nice and a good person, rather than just someone who was like hot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I have 2, but I would say that in comparison, I would say that I have never really been someone. I am very much someone that is like, if my friend is with someone and they're together and they're happy, then it doesn't really matter how I feel about them. Even if I have to see them a lot or if I'm around them a lot, I'm like, that's I don't have to go home with her. Like, I don't have to go home with him like you do. So have fun with that. But I'm not going to actively hate someone.
Correct.
But like, unless they are just a truly vile person, which there are a few exceptions out there. So unfortunately, I cannot give too much anonymity about this one. I will give him, but not the person that was close to me. So my, first of all, mother, if you are listening to this right now, I love you. I'm sorry that I have to talk about this, but this isn't a secret. This isn't like a big deal. But so my mom didn't really, date a lot when we were younger. She was a full-time nurse. She was a full-time mom. My sister and I were both a handful. So my mom was pretty busy being a mom, paying a mortgage, doing mom stuff, doing single mom stuff. And she just didn't really date a lot. She'd go out on dates and stuff, but she didn't really date a lot. Or like frequently like date like one person. She would just kind of like go out with someone and be like, yeah, he was nice. And then that was kind of it. And so there was a point where my sister was I think she was already in college. And then I was close to graduating high school. So I think my mom was finally like, okay, I'm going to go and like have a life. I think my mom was finally like, y'all are grown. Y'all can take care of yourselves. I'm going to go live a little, which, I mean, obviously every right to do that. She's dedicated so much of her life to being a mom, and like she earned it. There was no malice or ill will about that. I was happy for her because I wanted my mom to find someone. Yeah. So what I wasn't really prepared for was if my mom ever really like truly started dating someone, like being in a relationship with someone. I didn't know how I was going to handle that because like my dad got remarried when I was like 12 or 13. So it was like, it was like about maybe 3 years after, like 3 years after my parents divorced, my dad got remarried. So at this point it had been maybe like 8 years since my parents divorced. My mom had never really had like a boyfriend. And so when my mom started dating this guy, I really wanted to not be the kid who's like an asshole or like difficult or like you're not my dad. Like I wasn't gonna be like that. I had a step parent. Like I wasn't gonna act like that. But I definitely was going to have my guard up, and there was just the moment I met him, there was just something about him that I did not like, and I wasn't sure because on paper, he really tried to connect with me. He really tried to, like, I'm not going to say impress me, but he definitely tried to, like, be cool with me. And he, this is my senior year of high school. I'm wearing Ramones t-shirts and Sex Pistols t-shirts. I was really into, like, my punk rock at that point in time. Still am, but that's when I was, like, really into it. And he listened to, like, Social Distortion and The Clash and all of those. And so he was, like, we talked about music. He also really liked horror movies. He liked Kevin Smith movies. So it was just Richard Linklater movies. So it was like, we had a lot to talk about with that. But even with that, I was still just like, there's just something about you that I don't like. And he was never mean to me. He was never mean to my sister. And I don't know a lot about what happened between him and my mom. I don't have all the details, mostly just because like I didn't like him. And when they ended things, I was like, cool, bye. So it didn't really bother me.
Yeah, well, I was going to actually ask you this.
Okay.
Do you feel like you have ever been the person that someone had the ick factor about?
Probably, I'm sure.
I was going to say, for me, it happened. And it wasn't even anyone I was really dating.
Yeah.
So you can hear this and then you can tell your story or think about it. Where I had just gone to dinner with a college friend, and his kind of youngish daughter came with us. She was around 10. And I think he had kind of wanted us to start dating. I will be completely honest. I had zero interest in actually dating him. We had gone on a couple of dates in college, but I just was beyond that. I was really just trying to find new friends when I moved here.
Yeah.
And I could tell she did not like me. And I always felt like, does she not like me because she thinks I'm trying to be the new mommy or like take her dad away from her? And literally like he friend ghosted me for like months. And I was like, I really felt like it was because of his daughter, which is definitely understandable. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to come between you and your daughter or cause conflicts. And let me tell you, I wasn't trying to date him. But that story really, really hung in there, especially once you and I decided to get serious.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I overtly tried to get Maddie to like me. I just wanted her to know that I was hopefully just someone else in her life who cared about her and you. And it was probably the most meaningful time that I think we were in John and Lucy's pool, and she asked how we met.
It was just you two.
And it was just us. Like,
Yeah.
I think you would come to the house with Tyler and Grayson or something. And she asked how we met. I told her. And then she was just like, I'm really glad my dad found you. I've always wanted him to find someone. And I was like, like,
bless this child.
And I really think I hadn't done anything overtly to be like, please like me, please. And I wasn't, I mean, obviously I'm going to be like, I wasn't cautious around her. I think I was myself.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be relatable and have her feel like I was someone who just also loved her and cared about her as a step parent, a parent, a friend, someone, an adult she could look up to. And when she said that day, I felt like I had won the lottery.
Aww,
but what about you? So
Tootie.
What was your ick story?
So I have probably, because of before we met, my living situations, the older that I got, I think the more just naturally yellow red flag it would give girls that I met that it wasn't so much that I was like I had an apartment, but it was like I had a roommate. It was like I worked all nights except for like Sunday, and I worked all nights. I would stay up all night and hang out with Rick and Blake, and then I lived in this apartment. I smoked cigarettes. All right, so we have a bee in here.
Yes.
We have a bee in here. I had to go get the fly swatter.
All right, we're going to try to wrap this up.
Yeah, we're so close to being done, so we're going to try and wrap this up and exterminate this bee. All right, so I had a roommate. I smoked cigarettes. I had a dog. I lived in an apartment. I used to stay up all night. I worked in a kitchen where I worked nights all the time. I very much had what looked like the life of like a college student. It wasn't my life. That wasn't my life. I wasn't living the life of a college person. It was like my schedule was like,
yes.
I was a night owl. I would sleep a lot during the day because I would work late, and then I would stay up because I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything else to do. I wasn't dating anyone. I wasn't doing anything. So, for the first time in a while, I had like a little neighborhood. It was like me, Blake, Rick, Chris, Casey, Jeff Loomis. Like we all hung out, and so it was like we all worked nights, and we would all hang out at night, and so I think girls would come over, or they would get to know me, and I think that alone was like their red flag. For them, I think you were just happy that I was like gainfully employed and that I didn't live it with my parents. I think that was maybe your mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. It didn't bother me that you worked at night. Obviously it would be great if you had worked during the day and you were free at night. But, it wasn't like I felt like it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, I loved Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
And, who hasn't had to live in an apartment
Right.
in their life? I was living in an apartment when I was in my 30s. So,
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is how can you judge someone when you've likely been
Right.
in their shoes?
I think this is just a kind of summed up to some people's red flags are other people's no flags.
Right.
Because if I were to meet someone that had the same life as me, obviously I wouldn't judge because I have the same kind of life, but to me, I would just be like, you have a job, check. You have your own place, check. You have a cute dog, check. I would be like,
Exactly.
You're perfect, I just know that I gave the ick just because it was like, if I could get past this is what I do for a living, this is where I live, this is my life. If I could get them past that, then it was like, okay, I think we're good. I was like, I think,
Yeah.
And then it was usually some other thing that would cause a breakup, obviously. But I think that alone was kind of an ick. And I think smoking cigarettes was an ick. I think that turned a lot of girls off. I think maybe there were other things that I did or said, but like I don't know specifically. But like
I liked you, and I guess that hopefully is enough.
well, yeah, we're no, it's not.
What?
It's not enough. All right, we've been chit chatting for a while. We got one paragraph left. We're almost done with this.
All right.
We talked for over an hour. We were just jibber jabbering. We were chattering.
Chattering.
All right, the wedding day comes, and Rose reveals to Dorothy she is unsure about Harry, and so she wants to tell Blanche, which through a bunch of hilarious ways, Dorothy manages to stop Rose many times, chokeholds her while pretending to give her a hug, and so then Blanche joins in thinking it's like a group hug, and you kind of see, it's in the opening credits, you see like Betty White just stone-faced with like Dorothy's arm wrapped around her neck, and then right when she's about to tell Blanche again, she throws Rose into the closet. It's so great. It's so funny. The physical comedy between those women is just so great. So yeah, Dorothy manages to stop her in various ways, and the minister arrives before Rose can say anything. However, as the wedding party waits for the groom, a police officer greets Blanche with the bad news that Harry was arrested for bigamy. Proving Rose's crazy hunch about him. You remember all those TV movies in the 80s and 90s where it was like, you know, My Three Wives, and it was like the man who had like 4 families or something like that. I still to this day don't know how people get away with that. It does not make any sense to me how they like secretly have like 3 different families and lives, but it happens, and it's crazy that it happens.
Even today.
Yep. Blanche is told she had a lucky escape. Blanche is crushed and she refuses to leave her bedroom, but at the end of the episode, she realizes that life goes on, which is another great show. The girls promise even if they do get married again, they will stay together. End of episode.
End of episode.
Very cute.
Totally
obviously.
Cute.
Love all these characters. If you've never watched Golden Girls, come over here so I can smack you upside the head and ask you what the hell are you doing with your life. It's all on Hulu. Yeah, it's all on Hulu, and 180 episodes. But I mean, this is like such an easy bingeable show.
I mean,
like
22 minutes each.
Right, like with most sitcoms from the 80s and 90s, you can binge an 180. You could do that in a few weeks.
In a week or two.
Just do it. All right, you think that wraps this up?
That does.
All right. That wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in on our new every Friday, once a week episode schedule. We feel a lot better about it. By the way, we feel a lot clearer about it. This is just the beginning because this is just the tip of the iceberg because we have a great lineup this month. We have a lot of great shows, a lot of great episodes, and the bee was just crawling on my laptop and now it's flying around. That wraps up this episode. Yep. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can follow us on Instagram at WeJudgePilotPod. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. We're also on Facebook. I forgot to say that. What you got?
All right. Any of like the senior emojis, the senior lady emojis, I see it. The palm tree for Florida, the house where they all live together. All right. To represent each of the ladies, a rose for Rose, an apple for Dorothy since she's a teacher, the Italian flag for Sophia because she's Italian, a peach for Blanche because she's from Georgia, the chef for Coco, cucumbers, the eyes, the ring, the pine tree for the shady pines, the bride and the groom, and a bee because we're fighting one right now in the dining room. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.